Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Nasai. Come back to another video through Spring Private by Shemel Shai. And always, Lord, when I pray this lesson, be edifying to the Lord's elect. Prior to getting started, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shemel Shai, by Shemel Kakadash. I want to give the bonds to the apostles and elders of their millstone rule to teach well. And peace and salutation to Yakum on the full inspiration, truth, and sincerity and diligence. Shalom, shalom. All right, excuse me. I just basically just wanted to start the camera, do a lesson over something I was meditating on. Prior to starting the camera was maintaining focus, right, and keeping the main thing. And what I mean by maintaining focus is like not being sidetracked. So ultimately, we have to keep distractions and the things around us at a minimum, right? Being that we are in very important times, right, in our walks, right, in our lives, to what we're seeing that prophecy is unfolding, and that the end is near, right? Matter of fact, I can read that Ezekiel 7 that I like to read. I start off with this. This is Ezekiel 7 and verse 5. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, and evil and only evil, behold, is come, and end is come." So we know that evils is on the way, man, right? Great evils, great death, great destruction, great famines. All of these things are coming, right? So with you knowing that these types of things are coming, what would it move you to do? It'll move you to prepare, right? Like Noah did. It said that Noah moved with fear to the preparing of to the saving of his house, right? So it's the same thing that we ought to do, right? Being partakers of building that spiritual ark, right? It says, "An end is come, the end is come, and watch it for thee, behold, it is come." So the end is come, man, right? So with having this in mind, right, we must maintain a high level of focus, right, and not be sidetracked with side missions, right? And it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to, probably veer off to the left or to the right. But if we center line our focus and have a single eye, like the scripture says, let's get it. It'll be what's conducive to the spirit. This is Matthew 6:22. It says, "The light of the body is the eye," right? It says, "If therefore thine eye be single," right? Having what we like to say, tunnel vision. Let me see what single says right quick. Simple, good, fulfilling its office, sound, having sound wisdom, right? Of an eye, it says clear, single, and a base of properly folded together, single, clear, good, fulfilling office, sound, right? Whole, without folds, right? So let's go back. So thine eye be single. So if thy eye be single, it says the whole body is full of light, right? But if thine eye be evil, the whole body shall be full of darkness. The way for that eye to be evil is to be given unto side quests, side missions, right? Focus on other things that profit you not, right? Things of the world, so into the flesh. It says, if therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, right? So you can't live a double life, right? Ultimately, right? You gotta pick one. You see? So, and with that choice, right, you will want to make that choice in wisdom, right? So it just goes back to what we're saying, is having to maintain focus, because it's easy to be pulled away. Like the scripture says, the wickedness that easily besets us. When you go into beset, it goes into skillfully surround, right? So it's nothing but things trying to pull us here and there, especially now as we continue to get closer and closer to that time. The harder things become, the harder those trials become, the harder those demons strike, the more frequent they strike, right? Things of that nature, right? So we don't have time to be sidetracked, right? We got to maintain a high level of focus, right? And be joined to the body ultimately, man. This is and it also leads just being back in the spirit of things. So this is Hebrews 10:25. It says, "Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together," right? as the manner of some is, right? And this is a key thing, right? It's not forsaking the assembly, right? Because it's needful to be joint, right, to the body, to be joint to the brotherhood, right? Because this is also, it strengthens you also, man, right? It says, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching. You see, so exhorting one another, right? And so much the more. So even the more, right? Like this is a daily thing, right? So much the more as we see the day approaching. So as we see that day approaching, we will be more geared to focusing on things that is conducive to the spirit, as in reading, studying, being amongst the brotherhood, right? Things of that nature, right? Our main focus, right, and the thing that will have all of our attentions is being a part of this body, right? And keeping to that, because the only people that you're really going to be able to trust in the times to come is that inner circle, right? You're not going to be able to be trusting niggas in the world, so on and so forth, right? So I'm really, again, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together as the manner of some is, right? But exhorting one another, it says, and so much the more, so even the more as what? As we see that day approaching, right? I should have read up, but you see, as we see that day approaching, we want to be locked in. We have to be locked in, right? This shows where our focus is, right? And ultimately, not like we said earlier, not to focus on the things that are around us, but to be locked in with this ministry, because if we're locked in everywhere else, right, we can be overcharged. This is Luke 21, and 34. It says, it's a lock if I sound a little sick and shit, I'm just waking up. But it says, and take heed to yourselves. This is Luke 21:34. It says, and take heed to yourselves. Right? You're taking heed to yourself. You're considering your thoughts, considering your moves and everything, right? You're moving in fear. It says, and take heed to yourself. So watch. Heed is like basically saying watch. Take heed to yourself, at least at any time your hearts, your minds, right? I say it all the time, like the scripture says, guard thy heart with all diligence, for out of it all the issues of life. Because that heart, that mind could be overtaken. That mind is deceitfully wicked, like the scripture says. It says, be overcharged, right? Let me get overcharged. So way down to overcharged, right? To be overcharged, to be overcame, right? To be compromised, right? Because your mind, you can be compromised if you're not careful, if you're not in the spirit of things. It says with suffering. It says in drunkenness and cares of this life. You see, and so that they come upon you unaware. So you'll be like those that'll be caught like a thief in the night, right? Because you fail to watch, right? As we were commanded to do, right? And ultimately, your desire should be to watch, right? It should be to serve the Lord. It should be to be around the body, because, like I said, that's what's conducive to the spirit. That's what's going to lead you to salvation, right? Because soon, man, the point of me, when I was thinking of this lesson, I was thinking like soon it won't be no dialing up your brother or your favorite brother, the brother you close to, you know what I'm saying? And, talk, the brother that you usually talk to all the time, when you're going through whatever, man. Soon it won't be no you just dialing brothers up and being able to call brothers, man, right? So you have to take advantage of that now, right? You have to gather the things that you need to gather now, and that requires a mass level of focus and diligence, man, right? Because soon we won't be able to do these different things. You may be on your own. A lot of us may be on our own. This brother might have to go get his family. You go be with yours, whatever the case may be. But you have to be able to stand on your own and call to remembrance, the things that you have learned, to apply it, the things you were told, and you heard, so on and so forth. You see, so it's this, we are in important times, right? Important times of growth, and important times of gathering and applying, right? Things which we learn, right? Through Spirit Power about Shemel Shai, right? And ultimately, what will lead you to be in that mindset, to stay in the mindset of being focused and locked in, and is to think upon the things that is to come, right? Let's get that. This is Sirach 18. Come on. This is This is Sirach 18. We say what? This is Sirach 18 and verse 24. It says, think upon the wrath that shall be at the end. So we got to think upon the wrath. This is going to keep you in fear. You have to always maintain a high level of fear for Yahweh Shem Shai, right? And that alone also helps you stay focused. Fearing the Lord helps you stay focused. It says, think upon the wrath that shall be in the end, at the end. It says, in the time of vengeance when he shall turn away his face, right? You see, so you got to think upon the wrath that shall be in the end. You got to think upon what the Lord is coming to do, right? And sometimes it's good to be, I don't want to say reminded, but sometimes people need to be reminded of these things, right? Sometimes you need to sit down and go read and see what the scripture said about what the Lord is coming to do, and how shall no one escape the hand of Yahweh Shem Shai. You got to sit down and really think upon these things and meditate upon what the gravity of what's being said, man, right? And that's gonna dictate what manner of person you is. Let's get that. This is 2 Peter 3. I be saying Peters, but it's Peter. Salaki. This is 2 Peter 3 and verse also that 10. It says, but the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, right? And it's going to catch those unawares, because it's as a thief in the night. They wasn't looking for it. They were not in the know. It says, and the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. And ultimately, a lot of people don't believe. Just as in the times of Noah, where that's what the scripture says. Just as the times of Noah were, right? It's going to be the same thing when the Lord returned, man. Brothers know what I'm talking about, right? Because guess what? People didn't believe it would flood. People didn't believe it would rain. People didn't, they wasn't looking for it. They thought it was a joke, right? Until it actually happened. Same thing now. You get a lot of people be like, oh, they've been saying the Lord's coming back. Oh, when the Lord coming back. And it's comedy now to the masses, but when it happens, it's going to catch them as unawares. That's why it says as a thief in the night. No one expecting that thief to come. It says, so they're sleeping real comfortably in the night, snuggled up in their covers. And they're going to be destroyed, taken away, like the scripture says, right? And their security, right? And their security, they shall be destroyed. Something along those lines. Matter of fact, I can't remember that precept. I know it say in their security. Let me see. Let's get that. In their security. I don't want to butcher it. This is Sirach 5, and I'm going to jump back in verse 7. It says, make no tarrying and turn to the Lord, which the masses do. They tarry, right? And we ourselves been in the know. We can never tarry, right? Never put off from day to day, right? It says, and put not off from day to day. So striking while the fire is hot, while the spirit is on you, right? It's something that we must capitalize. Ultimately, we got to capitalize on our time. Time that we have, we got to capitalize on it, man, every time. It says, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. Suddenly, on a sudden. As a thief, on a sudden, suddenly does he come. Shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. It says, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So in their security, right, when they're comfortable, settled upon their leaves, right, the Lord is gonna destroy them, man, right? But it says back in 2 Peter 3:10, it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, right? Those missiles, ICBM missiles. It says, in the earth also, and the works therein shall be burnt up. So being knowing this, right? Seeing because we see it, right? Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, right? If something is being dissolved, that means it's going to melt, right? What manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, You see? So this is important scripture, you know, because this is the first scripture I thought about when I was meditating, right? What manner of persons, what sort of quality, right? Because that's what manner goes into, right? Seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner, right, of persons, of what sort or quality, what manner of, right? When you read the lexicon, also it says, of what sort or quality, what manner of absolutely of persons, right? With the noun, but it goes into what sort of quality, right? Right now, another thing that's mentioned when it deals with quality, right, is the let's get it. Let me just open another tab right quick. What manner of person, what quality of individual, what mindset, what faith, what amount of faith, what quality of person are you to be in, right? Are you to be, right? This is 1 Corinthians 3 in verse 12, because it said the quality of something, the quality of something depends on the durability of it, right? The material, right? That's what what's the word I'm looking for? That's what gives you good quality, right? So we all want to be of high quality, right? It says, now if any man build upon this this is 1 Corinthians 10:12. Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, and stubble, all of these have different durabilities, meaning they're of different qualities, right? But it is likening these things into what? Your works, right? It says, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, right? That day, because it shall be revealed by what? By fire, right? The scriptures talk about how acceptable men shall be found in the fire of adversity. That's what that fire is, man, right? That fire, that hardship, right, is going to reveal what quality you are, your faith, you, right, your works, right? It says, in the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. You see, so that goes back to that quality. What manner, right? Of what sort. Let me see what sort say. Of what sort it is. Of what sort or quality, what manner of. You see? So when we read that, let me read this. It says, of what kind, that, how as great, excellent, especially as indefinite correlative to the definite antecedent of quality. You see, so it goes back to quality, what manner or sort of, such as whatsoever. So what manner, right? What quality, right, you are. You see? So let's jump back. It says, it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. You see? It says, and if any man's work abide, which he had built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. And the scriptures talk about a reward, right? The scriptures talk about a reward that the Lord is coming with, man. So you have to ask yourself this: what sort or what quality, what manner of person am I, right? And that's going to be determined by your faith, right? And what you're sowing, man, and what you're sowing unto, right? Because if you're sowing into the flesh, you're going to be an individual of weak quality, right? And that's going to be burnt up, man. You see, we just read it, what sort it is. You see? So you're an individual that's not diligently seeking Yahweh Shem Shai, right? What that is, 27. This is what happens. This is Sirach 27:3. It says, unless a man hold, let me see. Yeah. Unless a man hold himself diligently, thoroughly, right? In the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. As when one sifted with a seed, the refuser remaineth, so the filth of man is in his talk. You see? So the filth of man is in his talk. What he is what's going to come out, right? As he thinketh in his mind, it is what declared through his speech, right? But the point is that unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown, right? So you're not, that's the reward right there. just talked about it, about a reward. Well, this is the reward, right? For those that don't walk in fear. When we read Revelations, what that is, 22 and 12, it says, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according to his work shall be. So according to the quality, right? What manner of persons, right? Your work, right? Which goes also into your deeds, right? When we look at NLT, it says, look, I am coming soon, bringing my reward with me to repay all people according to their deeds. You see, so that goes back to what we was reading in that second Peter 3. All right, let's get back to it. According to your deeds, the Lord bring you what your reward shall be. Right? So when we read this in verse 11, it says, seeing then all these things shall be dissolved. What manner of persons, what quality of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So it said, according to your deeds. This conversation and godliness, when you go into conversation, it goes into your anastrophe, right? Which goes into what? Manner of life, conduct, behavior, deportment. So your behavior on and off camera. Really, off camera etiquette is very important, right? Who you are off camera, right? Because you can be a precept guru, you could be a great speaker, whatever the case may be, but who are you when it comes to character development in an individual when you're not seen on camera? So the manner of life, right, goes back into your deeds, your anastrophe, right? Your conversation. You can't live a double life. And we read it earlier in Matthew 6:24. No man can serve two masters, whether he will love the one and hate the other, man. You see? It says your conduct, right? And all of this is going to depend on what that reward is, right? See, the Lord is not he's trying the hearts of man. We read it earlier, right? The abundance of the mouth, the heart speak it, right? Where is it? It says, unless a man hold himself diligent in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. And as when one sifted with the seed, the refuse remaineth, so the filth of man is in his talk. The furnace proveth the potter's vessel, so the trial of man is in his reasoning. This is what the Lord is judging you upon, right? Is how you reason, right? And if you're in your application, your ability to apply the precepts, not only teach them, not only to speak them. You can speak good, but the scripture says there is one that teacheth many, but he is unprofitable unto himself. You see, so we gotta be locked in, man. Right? The topic of this lesson was maintaining focus, maintaining a high level, an intense level of focus, right? And not being distracted and not being on side quest, right? Because we have to make sure that we're reasoning aright, right? Making sure that our conduct is right and what's pleasing, right? And that's ultimately going to show if we're in a spirit of preparation. Let's go back. This is 2 Peter 3 and verse 12. It says, I'm going to read 11 again. Excuse me, I think I got to sneeze. No, I'm good. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are you to be in? All holy conversation and godliness, right? It says looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Lord. So it's going to show where all of your attention is, right? Wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So all of this is soon to come to an end, man. Right? When you go into looking for, it goes to something that you're expecting. Right? If you're looking for it, you're expecting it. Man, let's just get it. Looking for right here. It says to expect, whether in thought, in hope, right? Because this is our hope. It says or in fear, to look for, to wait for, right? It says to watch, to anticipate, in thought, hope, or fear. And this is what we all must have: the ability to be in thought and meditate, to have that hope in Yahweh Shema Shai, which is faith. It says in or fear, to have that fear. That fear is what's going to have you looking for it, right? By implication, to await, to be in expectation, right? Which also goes back to hope, right? It says look for, right? To wait for. So this is what we're waiting for, right? We're looking for the return of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. We're looking for great hell to break loose. We're expecting it, right? So when you're expecting something or looking for it, that shows great preparation, right? Because we through faith, you know, we know these things will come. We're looking for it. We're expecting it. We're waiting for it, right? And that shows why our focus is, right? It says looking forward and hasting, and that's going to show forth in, you know, your works, you know, your walk, right? You're looking for, you're applying these things, and you're applying this, the things that are written into your everyday life. It says, until the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens shall be on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, man, right? So we're looking for, we're watching, like the scriptures tells us, and I ended off with this one. This is Luke 21 and 30, not 34, but I'll read 34 again. It says, because it's really 36. Yeah, 36. It says, watch ye therefore and pray always. You see, so we're commanded to watch. And we're watching, we're looking for, we're expecting something. Therefore, and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man, man. So we got to pray to Yahweh Shem Yahshua that we're accounted worthy to escape, man. You see, and that's why we must maintain a high level of focus, because we don't know, right? We're hoping, right, that what we put in is you know, and how we apply in our conduct, all these things is pleasing. But all we got to do is walk according to the script, walk according to the blueprint that was given unto us, man, right? And we shall escape, Lord, when we bear that number. It says, watch ye therefore and pray always. So that's the key point, is to always be in the spirit of watching. All right, so you know where we're at in points of prophecy, right? But also to pray always, because that prayer is a very key and pivotal part in our walk, right? And all these things that we're reading is what's conducive to our spirits, right? Conducive to us in the mindset of growing spiritually, you know, and making us ready, right? Making us ready to the battle, preparing us for what's to come, right? And the only way to do that is to maintain a high level of focus and not be sidetracked on side quests, right? So Lord will not praise less was edifying and exhorting to you, Akim, and give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kakadash. I'm going to give double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone who will teach well, and peace and salutation to you, Akim, the four ones pushes truth and sincerity and diligence. Till next time, Shalom.